It's rare that Manchester's town meetings are not marked with one or two questions that prompt discussion and debate, and this year is no exception. First and foremost, the townspeople will vote on whether or not to adopt a budget. This year, voters will be asked to approve spending on operations and capital budgets totaling a little over $6 million. Factoring in an increase in the town's grand list, that will lead to an increase in the municipal tax rate of about 1/10 of a penny, at just under 25 cents per $100 of assessed property value, assuming the voters give the nod. The budgets, along with several other articles, will be discussed or voted off the floor of the municipal meeting on Saturday, March 3rd. Additional voted appropriations add to the total spending and therefore put upward pressure on the tax rate. The meeting will be held as usual at the gym of the Manchester Elementary Middle School and starts at 1 p.m. Among those floor votes will be two that may spark a little more debate and discussion than others. One is for an appropriation of $50,000, drawn from local option tax revenues, to support marketing efforts led by the Manchester Business Association, a group of local business owners who joined together following the collapse of the local Chamber of Commerce in 2016. The group has appeared before the Select Board several times over the past few months to make their case for some town support and succeeded in getting their request onto the town warning. Paul Carocchio, the president of the Business Association, said he was happy with where things ended up when all was said and done.
Sure. So we're really happy about the language of the article number 8, which will help us continue to create a partnership with our local government and help the business community continue to build on the greatness of this community and what we've built already over the last 3 or 4 decades, and continue to help the tourism base continue to come to this town and the visitors to visit, and help all the retailers and the lodging sector and the restaurant, food and beverage, and then of course the service sector. So we're hoping at town meeting we'll have convinced enough people in this town to vote that this is a great thing for all of us between now and Saturday, March 3rd, to have a floor vote in favor of funding, helping fund the marketing of our town and all the great events. And of course, a piece of that will go to the ITV Fest. And then most importantly, we're committed as a business community to match the town's funding. So for every dollar that we're asking for $50,000, we'll go and raise $50,000 from the community.
Town Manager John O'Keefe discussed several of the issues likely to be prominent at the municipal meeting in a recent interview.
Well, besides the budget, which is always one of the bigger items, and this year we've split the budget up like we have in past years in operating and then capital. Besides that, I see the request for $50,000 from the Manchester Business Association. Those funds would come from the Taxpayer Relief Reserve Fund. I see that being an issue debated. The election, going from the appointment, or from the election of the town treasurer to the appointment of the town treasurer, with Dave Fielding stepping down as the treasurer after 37 years. Hopefully that generates some discussion. And then the creation of a special district for water service, which would switch the funding burden from water users, in some cases, to a larger population for the purposes of improving water mains for hydrant service. Currently, all of the hydrants are maintained from water users, yet a lot of houses that are nearby, but not necessarily on the water system, are enjoying lower insurance rates and better fire protection. So that would create a district that includes all the current water users plus anyone within 1,000 feet of a hydrant. For the purposes of funding, it's about $100,000 in the first year. So I see that generating some debate. And then another article that I think will generate some debate is it's actually a procedural vote. It's a vote to see whether in the future, when we consider any funding or development of the rail trail that runs essentially from the rec park out to North Road on the old Manchester, Dorset, Granville rail line, when we vote on it in the future, it would be by Australian ballot, so that would be a vote on Tuesday in the voting booth versus a floor vote on the Saturday. We do know that it depends, the cost of the project, looking down the road, we do have some estimates, depends whether it would be a federal project with all the federal conditions, but also 80% of the money coming from the federal government, or whether it would be exclusively a local project. I think at the cost of the project, it would really have to have some federal and state participation or make it viable. The numbers for for a state project are about 1.3 million.
Another likely discussion topic will be the Manchester Community Library's annual request for municipal funding support for the library's operating budget. This item will be voted on by Australian ballot the following Tuesday, March 6th, when polls open at the Town Hall from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Voters will elect town officers for the year. Currently, 3 select board seats are open, plus the town clerk position and the town treasurer position. Voters will also elect 2 school directors to fill out terms until the current Manchester School District ceases to exist later this year. The school district meeting used to be separate up until this past year, but this year it will be the first item of business on the Saturday, March 3rd floor meeting. The sole item of discussion is about the 2 school director posts. Before then, on Tuesday, February 27th, the new regional Taconic and Green School District, of which Manchester is part of, will hold its first annual meeting at the Floodbrook School in Londonderry. That meeting starts at 7 p.m. and will help elect officers and approve a tuition payment rate to Burnburton Academy for the coming school year. Also on that warning will be a discussion of items to be decided by Australian ballot on Tuesday, March 6th, when the various towns which make up that school district go to the polls. For the GNet TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.